Hey YouTube land, Tycander here doing another action figure review, and today we're having a look at Zarak, the evil half-orc assassin character from the Dungeons and Dragons line by Neca, or Neca, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Zarak is one of the original first figures from the original D&D LGN line. So he comes in the standard box, all of the figures that have come in so far, with the window box style packaging with the little Velcro tab, just holding the front closed. So you have, obviously the figure would be in here, but already out of the box. And then you're treated to a toy photography of the figure holding his dagger. You have an image of the figure on the side. You have his name, the Dungeons and Dragons logo with the little registered trademark thing, RTM, for it. You have another image of him on the side. You have all the legalese stuff and Wizards of the Coast stuff on the bottom, and on the back you have the also available contents and some other photography of the figure. So the write-up for Zarak is an assassin without honor or conscience. The only thing he loves is money. He would never hesitate to stab allies in the back if they came between him and the riches he covets. When faced with multiple foes, Zarak prefers to hurl daggers from a distance. When targeting a lone individual, especially someone he has been hired to kill, he prefers the up-close and personal garrote so that he can hear the dying breath of his hapless prey. The contents includes sword, dagger, knife, potion bottle, grappling hook with rope, removable torso armor, and interchangeable head and hands. So he is quite a loaded out or kitted out individual. So we'll go through his accessory count first, because he has quite a few. So he has this grapple hook, which is on a rope. Now, on the figure itself, there is storage for some of his accessories. There is one part on the figure which has on the back, he has a little belt loop, and I believe it's for the grapple hook, but it's kind of annoying because you have to have all the rope boiled back up and put in nicely, and when you take it out of the box, it's kind of all over the place. So I believe it is for the grapple hook. I don't think it's for his sword or small dagger or whatever the short sword is that he comes with, which is this big golden looking sword here. It doesn't seem to fit it at all, but he does have two sheaths on his front for his throwing daggers or his small daggers, and they are, if I take them out of the, they are identical, I believe, are they? I believe they are both identical. I would imagine these are his throwing daggers, or just, you know, for stabbing daggers, but I would imagine they're balanced for throwing as well. And he has that. Just get them back in. They're a little fiddly to get in. He does have a potion bottle. It doesn't say what the potion is, so you could imagine this being either a invisibility potion, health potion, poison potion, or poison for his daggers, which I would imagine would be more of something that would, you know, it wouldn't be in a potion bottle, it'd be more in a vial than a potion bottle. My guess is, since he's an assassin and he wouldn't want to be seen, I'd imagine this is some sort of invisibility potion. Then again, it could be a potion of strength. It would be whatever you want it to be, but it's nicely sculpted with a little stopper on this top, which is painted, and then it has this red bubbling liquid inside it. So it is up to you of what potion it is. So he also comes with an alternate head, which is quite nicely sculpted. The face on this kind of gives me very Quark from Star Trek DS9 look to it. I think it's because of the deep shading around the eyes. It has a very Ferengi look to it. But the same with the head that's on him. His eyes are very shallow and sunken into his head, but there's like really big dark circles under his eyes. I'm not sure if you can see that on with this light because of the way it's shining, but he does have that look to it. Again, he does have this sword. He does have a selection of hands. So his default hands that he comes with in the box are these more outstretched hands. He does have the standard punch hands. And then he has these kind of almost two-finger gesturing, not really two-finger gesturing, but they're kind of, his trigger finger and index finger are slightly more out than the others. I believe this is for the rope, for him to hold the rope. He does only have the one sword hand, so he only has the one grip hand for his sword, but it also doubles as a grip hand. If I get it out without snapping anything, because, come on, take the sword out. There we go. It is also is usable for holding the bottle, so you can hold that in that hand. So the other hands don't really hold the bottle or the potion bottle that well. It's his either sword or thing, or the potion bottle can be in the one hand. As I said, this belt loop thing doesn't really hold his sword at all, so I'm pretty sure it's not for that. I'm pretty sure it is for his rope, or his there is no storage for this thing as far as I know, but it's pretty much for the grapple hook. But it's, you have to kind of loop up the rope on it and have it all kind of knotted or tied away, and then have it hanging off it. So it is, if you're not great at doing that sort of stuff, you won't probably leave it off him like I do. But overall, I will bring him to tape measure because he is actually quite short of a figure. So let me just readjust my camera a slight bit. With his hood up, or the hood on, I suppose, he does stand in around 6, maybe 6 and a bit, just around 6 inches. So he is short. All the other figures in the line are between 7, and in Grim Sword's stance he's nearly 8. Without the hood on, he's even shorter, because obviously the hood adds height to him. So he is a short character. Now, as I mentioned in the Strongheart review, it is a weird thing that he's such a short character, because he is supposed to be half-orc. And as far as I remember in the... Now, it could be the thing from old Advanced Dungeons & Dragons and how they were depicted in that. I've never played Advanced Dungeons & Dragons or the older D&D. I only started playing in 3rd ed. So it's still a while back, but it's the orcs in those, or the half-orc description characters in those, all the half-orcs were around human height. So they were between, you know, the average of 5.5 to 6 foot kind of thing. They were all described as being fairly stocky, big characters, compared to the short character that this guy is, which is interesting because he's kind of more of a halfling size, well, he wouldn't be gnome size, but he's like almost dwarf or halfling size, more than half orc size. So, but then again, they could have had different things back in the day. He is quite nicely sculpted. He has this kind of black uniform with a light, kind of very dark blue dry brushing. So there is actual pops of color on him. It might be harder to see on camera, but it's not just pure black. There is on where the kind of sculpting or the folds hits, there is kind of blue on those. There's a little bit of paint bleed over as well from the gloves. He has these deep red gloves with a kind of dirt wash on it. Similar with his neck collar. The neck collar piece is, or his armor, removable armor as they call it, is an actual black with the red, that similar red. His harness and gear is done in this kind of leather brown color with a red trim as well. And he also has the scabbards for his swords, which are actually done in a kind of black metallic and gold. So there is that. He is one of the few figures to have that double jointed elbow thing. So he actually has a dual jointed elbow. His arms can move forward and back and can stretch out that much. So there is that. You just have to be careful of this wide collar. So if you're moving his arm forward too much, you'll just bump into it. So you just have to be cautious of that. His head is on a ball joint. It's actually a double ball joint. So there's one at the base of the neck, and one at the base where the head meets the neck as well. So he has a double ball joint, and as you can pop off the head and put on the other head. His legs can splay out that much. Not brilliantly, but he does have it. He can kick forward. He does have a hidden waist joint. It's hidden behind his tunic. There is a slight split on either side just to give him a bit more range of movement. He does have single jointed knees, which are very tight on mine. There. So it's, you don't get a full 90-degree bend. You just get a less than 90-degree bend. He doesn't have boot swivel. He does have a ankle rocker, and he does have peg hold on the bottom of his feet. He does have these kind of sandal wrap things for his feet. They're not so much really boots, but he does have that. And as I said, he does have his daggers. I do believe these smaller grip hands are also for his throwing daggers, to give him a better grip on those. So if I take one of them out, it's going to be a bit of a tight squeeze to get them in. So be careful. Yeah, these are intended for his dagger hands. So you can have one like that. Ooh. Not a big fan of doing this without heating them up, but I'll try. There. So if you wanted to, you could probably get the kind of backstabbing dagger hand kind of thing where they're trying to conceal the dagger with his hand. So you can have that. So depending which hand you have in, you'll have a hinge. So there is actually side-to-side hinges on all the hands, and depending which hand you have in, he has a hinge on that hand as well. So he does hold his sword quite nicely, or is it a sword? I think they called it a sword, or it's a short sword. To me, it's about the size of a short sword. I wouldn't call it a big sword, but what did they call it on the box? Yeah, they call it a sword. It says here is a dagger and a knife, but they both look exactly the same, so I'd imagine they're just two daggers. But he is quite nicely sculpted. So what we'll do is we'll bring in his evil companions from the line. Scale comparison. So we'll bring in Grimsword first, who is absolutely massive and towers over everyone. And then we'll bring in Warduke, the evil fighter. So we'll just get his legs a bit more standing in a better position where he's not going to fall over and kill everyone. So we have the three evil warriors. So you have an assassin, a knight, and a fighter. Or warrior. Is he a fighter or warrior? What do they call him on the box? They call him evil fighter. Because there's actually an evil warrior character as well that they released later on, who kind of looks similar to Warduke with the kind of half barbarian look to him. But we'll bring in the only good guy so far, which is, again, Strongheart, who is a paladin who would go around beating the bejesus out of all these guys, or at least attempt to, for the good and justice kind of thing. So overall, I do love this line. Again, as with all Neca figures, there is stuff that you have to be wary of, small accessories that might be susceptible to being too fragile and breaking. As I said on the review for Strongheart, his wings on his helm are fairly, I wouldn't say they're ultimately fragile, but they could be an easy breaking point. Like even with the swords holding the figures, if they were to fall with the swords in their hand, I could see them possibly breaking easily enough. But that's again the same with any figure line where you're dealing with fairly solid plastic for the swords. But overall, it is a really nice figure line, and I do hope we get more and more characters down the line. I would like to see, as I said in Strongheart's review, I would like to see them maybe tackle some of the more magic using characters. There was a wizard guy, if I remember, kind of the whole Merlin looking wizard looking guy. There's also a necromancer who again looked similar to the wizard guy, but just a little bit more gaunt in the color scheme. But I would love to see them do some sort of cool magic effects accessories for some of those guys. The original lineup actually had quite a lot of stuff. There was actually giants as well, small giants. Well, I say relatively small, but if they were to do the giant, I could imagine him being kind of like this much higher. You can't see that on screen, but like at least up to here higher than these characters, even though Grimsword is a tall guy himself. But overall, I do really like this line, and I hope it gets more traction going forward. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video review, and as always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy your day. Cheers. Thanks for watching.